What's up, y'all? This is John and Wes back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. After the championship parade weekend, um, before we get into anything we're talking about tonight, Wes, I see you got that Dr. Pepper, a good
Yeah,
old D Peppy.
good old D Pep.
I busted out something I've had over in the bar for a minute now because I'm out of my ASW.
Oh
It's
no.
Maker's Mark 2021 limited release FAE01, which
Sounds
is
fancy.
they do a couple limited releases every year, and I got both of the 2021s. So this is one that I forgot about until I looked at the back of the bar tonight.
I feel like Makers is a little cheap for you.
Oh no, this is like a $70 bottle.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah, their high end stuff's up there.
right.
Um, but tonight I'm sure you guys all kind of predicted where we're gonna start. We're gonna take a minute and talk about the tragedy of losing um, Devin Willock and Chandler LaCroix from the football staff. If you guys have listened to the show for a long time, you know that I have been a giant Devin Willock fan since the very beginning of the season. And then Chandler was a massive part of the recruiting effort that has gone on in Athens over the last couple of years. Went to school at Athens, got her master's there, and then went to work for the football program. And it is a very sad time in Athens with the passing of these two on the night of the championship celebration. And shout out to Dog Nation for the article that I'm about to pull some stuff from. They interviewed Devin's high school coach and a couple of the teammates. And I just want to, if you haven't read the article, I just wanted to read a couple things from this because honestly, when I read it, I was on the verge of tears just because of how good of a person that Devin was in these different stories. Um, so the biggest thing I took from this is not only was he a good person, like everyone talks about how nice he was, how genuinely kind he was, fun to be around, but he was an extremely hard worker. In all on and off the football field, all A's at Georgia, which is very difficult to do. 4.0 average through college. He went in for tutoring in certain classes because he had a B and wanted an A. Like he truly wanted to excel at everything he did. And he loved the University of Georgia. If you guys don't know, he is from New Jersey and chose Georgia over Penn State, which is hundreds of miles closer to home, specifically because he said Athens felt like home. And he talked about intending on playing at Georgia. I want to say the quote is until Kirby doesn't let me or I run out of eligibility, he wanted to play in Athens. So like regardless of draft status, he just wanted to help the university. And I truly regret not being able to try and get him on the show or talk to him at some point, just because of how big a fan I was of his on and off the field. Yeah, and that's just kind of where I want to leave that, because if I get too much into it, I'm going to get even more sad like I was a few days ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude was a dog inside and out. You brought up New Jersey. I saw an article where he would drive a great or not drive, but ride a Greyhound bus all the way from New Jersey to Athens just to try to be a part of the team before he was on the team. And there's a picture going around Twitter of actually Devin Willock with the little boy that night, and the family is looking to get a hold of his family to, I guess, to get them the picture or like thank them or whatever. So if anybody has any contact, like try and find that picture. I'll retweet it on our Twitter page. I'll tweet it on mine. Just get the family because I'm sure the family wants to hear the kind words of how he was off the field, and then going to Chandler, man. We didn't know a lot about her, um, but from what I'm seeing from all the football players, from all the staffers, like she was probably one of the kindest people you'd meet. Like I said, I didn't know her, so I'm not gonna go in and be that person. And another story about her is um, she lost a jacket during the Ohio State game. It was a handmade jean jacket with a bunch of like Georgia stuff on it that she lost, and her friends are trying to get back. So if anybody has any recollection of that, please once again just reach out to either one of us, and we'll try and figure out what we can do to help reconcile that situation because her friends were looking for it and her family's looking for it. So please, just if anybody knows anything, just let one of us know. But yeah, I mean it's sad, man. We're celebration, and then this.
Yeah. And, for the university, it means a lot because they lost two good quality people. And that's something that we've talked about a lot on this show is the character within the program.
Yeah,
And that's not just players, like that's staff members, that's graduate assistants, that's everyone involved.
yeah,
And Georgia lost a couple of damn good dogs the other night.
yeah. Luckily, it wasn't more, but yeah.
Yeah, there was another player and staff member in the car. Luckily that they one last I heard was in stable but critical condition
Uh,
and
Corey Bowles,
yes.
the staffer, and then Warren McClendon just got some stitches in his forehead and was released that night, or that morning.
Yeah, it's awful to say, but it could have been worse.
Yeah,
And we're all thankful that it wasn't. Um, Something that I don't think either of us wanted to ever talk about on this show was a player or staff member tragically passing away. But Georgia doesn't retire numbers, but I think 77 should be one that is retired.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I mean, if you want to talk on the field stuff, Devin played in 13 out of the 15 games, started 3, and was just an absolute mauler on the offensive line, was an integral part of the success and I mean, even the national championship game. He
Yeah,
played a significant number of snaps in that game. Um, and, like I said, Georgia doesn't retire numbers, but if they do, 77 needs to be one of them.
for sure.
But as awkward and difficult of a transition as this is going to be, we do have some other stuff that we want to talk about tonight. I think you want to go ahead and get into the transfer portal stuff?
Yeah, but just some great news I just saw on Twitter. Lad just announced he's coming back.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, Monday at midnight was the deadline to declare for the draft to the NFL. But Thursday is the deadline to declare publicly for the draft. So there are players that have possibly told the NFL, but it's not going to be made public until Thursday. But the transfer portal closes tomorrow, which is going to be absolutely huge. Huge.
Huge. So I'm glad you talked about that because a big name we're all looking for is Cedric Van Pran. He once again he
Yes.
could have declared, but he hasn't announced anything yet. So that's the name. That's the name to watch out for. But going back to that sad situation with Devin Willock, Van Pran was the first one there. For those of y'all that don't know, he was in the car behind him, and watched it all. And he actually was there holding Devin Willett when he took his last breath. So with that being said, I don't think Van Prank goes anywhere. I think he's going to stay.
I tend to agree with you, but with that being said, if you pray, this whole team and staff needs it. You know, thoughts, prayers, good vibes, whatever you can do is your part. Um, it's losing a family member at a couple at that. So especially Cedric being there. Jalen Carter is rumored to have been there just minutes after as well.
Yep.
So, like I said, if you pray, if you want to like rub some crystals and whisper into them for some good vibes, whatever you personally choose to do and believe in, the whole team needs it right now.
Yeah, let's stop being sad.
You brought it back up.
Look. I know. Well, it hit me when I saw the lab thing, and then that Van Pran still has it, and then like I figured like yeah.
So there's something that I do want to talk about when it comes to Lad, because I feel like maybe not in the Georgia fan base, but nationally, he is underappreciated for what he is. Because when there was a rumor that circled around very minimally that Lad could be going to the NFL because he is a redshirt sophomore, so his third year out of high school. Lad McConkey's a fucking baller, guys.
Yep.
Like nationally, if you don't quite get it yet, Lad McConkey, 762 receiving yards on 58 catches with an average of 13.1 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns. Cool, right? Like it's not Biletnikoff level. But the way Georgia spreads the ball around, Georgia's probably not going to have a Biletnikoff receiver.
No.
But last season, he had 4 carries for 44 yards. This season, he had 7 carries. Only 3 more carries, right? He had 7 carries for 134 rushing yards. He over tripled the number of rushing yards on 3 more carries, 2 rushing touchdowns. So his total scrimmage yards, 65 touches for 896 yards and 13.8 yards per play with 9 total touchdowns. For a 3-star. Like, he needs to be on that elite slot receiver level that you hear about nationally that he is always ignored in. You there? Hello?
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading something. Sorry, I'm listening. I'm reading.
I didn't see you breathing or blinking. I thought you either lagged or died. I was very concerned.
Sorry, no. It actually goes into what we're going to talk about later, so it actually works out perfect.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was very concerned.
I was listening.
Another big name transfer that Georgia got is we're not even going to break this down into transfers and draft guys. This is going to be a whole roster update episode because it's going to be real difficult to balance this out between segment to segment. Man, Smoke Bowie is coming to Georgia.
Dude, that was a shot out of nowhere.
It was out of nowhere if you don't follow recruiting very closely.
No, I guess I don't follow recruiting then because that hit me out of nowhere.
So Smoke Bowie, if you guys don't know, 5-star safety / corner / star defender / wide receiver / punt returner from Texas A&M, freak athlete. Like he played receiver at times for A&M. He returned kicks, and he was at one point committed to the University of Georgia. He is from Kirby's hometown of Bainbridge. But here's what happened and why he was not in Athens last season. Oil money.
Yep.
You got that Aggie oil money.
Which
And
I was
nobody wants to play for a 4-8 team that now has two of the most or three of the most toxic personalities in college football on the coaching staff, being DJ Durkin, Jimbo Fisher, and Bobby Petrino.
bro, what a fucking trio.
So he pieced out back to his home state, comes to Athens, and that kind of ties right into this next one. Jaheim Singletary was a 5-star from the same class, came to Georgia, and he has entered the transfer portal almost simultaneously as Smoke Bowie committed, which, writing on the wall is pretty clear on this one. It was one in, one out kind of thing. And I'm not trying to disparage Jaheim Singletary, and he's a hell of an athlete. The issue that I have heard and why he didn't get much playing time and wasn't on the 2 deep had to do more with he wasn't able to keep on weight at the college level.
Yeah.
Like he was always a lighter guy, which it happens. Not to me, but it happens to some people. Yeah, so Jaheim Singletary's out. Smoke Bowie is in. I don't want to say I'm not sad about Singletary leaving, because he's got the potential to one day be a star breakout player, lockdown corner. But it wasn't going to be this year.
Yeah.
And Smoke Bowie could be that this year, especially with Keely Ringo going to the draft.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like going back to the offense, talking about, Ladd, and with the additions of Ra and Lovett, does Georgia have the best receiving core in college football?
I don't know about college football, because Ohio State's only losing Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they didn't have him all season.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so SEC.
I think they have the most proven receiver room in the SEC. And I say that because if you want to talk about more highly rated guys, Bama and Tennessee have more highly rated guys.
But who does Bama have at receiver now? Barton.
But that's the only proven guy. They have a lot of other guys that just aren't proven. Bama's recruited at an insane level. I mean, they've been technically a better recruiting team than Georgia over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, well, rings.
Look, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying Georgia has 4 or 5 of the top 15 receivers in the SEC on their team this season.
But looking at who they have, so they still got Ladd.
Yep.
AD possibly. There's rumors of him leaving.
Like I said, we talked about this before we came on. The rumor is one guy in a random Facebook group who has no ties to any program saying that he's heard AD to Texas.
Apparently some beat writers are saying it. I mean, I'm on Twitter and I haven't seen anything, but yeah.
I was about to say, I Googled AD Mitchell transfer and literally found 0 articles.
Yeah, AD fucking
Arian Smith. Marcus Rosemy hasn't announced the transfer, and it's possible he does, it's possible he doesn't.
Yeah. Dude, I'll even throw Meeks in there.
Yeah.
This receiver, whoever's QB1 next year is going to have a field day as long as Munkin stays.
Man, so we may have talked about it on the show before, but it is part of Todd Munkin's contract that I'm pretty sure he owes the university money if he leaves for another college OC job.
Really?
So I don't remember the exact specifics of it, but I read up on it at one point. The only jobs that he is allowed to leave for before the end of his contract are an NFL OC job or head coach, and a college Power 5 head coach job.
Huh.
There's no Power 5 head coaching jobs available. And the accounts that I've read are he kind of burned himself out on the NFL because head coaches are often the problem.
Yeah.
and blame it on the coordinators and fire him. Like Freddie Kitchens, he was the offensive coordinator under Freddie Kitchens in Cleveland, but
Yeah.
Freddie Kitchens called the plays and then blamed Monken on the bad offense. Yeah,
Sounds about right. But I mean, talking about Monken, there's also, I mean, this one's coming from Aaron Murray, so I don't know how but there's rumors of Glenn Schumann to Bama for the same position.
I could see it. I could 100% see that being an option. So, for those of you that may not know a lot about Glenn Schumann, he was an Alabama graduate, got started as a GA under Saban, worked his way up to a defensive analyst, and then when Kirby left, he followed Kirby to Athens. He was one of the linebackers coaches, and then worked his way up to defensive coordinator. And his wife is also a Bama grad, so I could see Schumann going to Alabama, but I could also see him trying to follow Kirby's path of being the best defensive coordinator in the game, year in and year out, top
Yeah.
defense, just being absolutely elite at what he does. And then when the right opportunity comes up, he's going to take it.
Yep, I can see that.
I could see, and this might be crazy, and y'all can call me out in a few years if this doesn't happen. I could see him laying in wait and the Bama job when Saban retires being between Kiffin and Schumann.
Dude, I've talked about this before, and I don't know if I talked about it in the pod or not, but Kiffin, man, like Kiffin at Bama, like it sounds all great and fantastic, but like I don't think the boosters at Bama would deal with his. I don't want to say attitude, but like his character. But that sounds bad as well.
And
but you know what I'm
from
trying
all
to say?
accounts, he is not the same person he was a few years ago.
He's not, but he's not that Alabama. He's, you know what I'm saying?
I definitely see how personality
That's the
differences.
word. That's the word.
Yeah, I can see how personality differences could cause that not to be something. But you know whose personality would fit great as head coach at Alabama?
Glenn Schumann.
Glenn Schumann. And I'll be honest, I think Kirby would be better to work for than Saban.
Yeah.
And I say that because he talked about it at media days. He gave the staff Fridays off in the off season. He's like, I know I miss my family, so I know you miss your families.
Yeah.
He's like, Fridays, if you come in late. He's like, I don't want to see you before lunch.
Yeah.
So, hey, you know, you don't hear Saban talking about that. I'm not trying to talk bad about Nick Saban because he's not even arguably he is the best coach in college football history, right? Like there's people that are working towards it, and I mean, if you want to talk about longevity, there's some other coaches that can be in the conversation, but if you're talking about the accomplishment someone's had over their career, it's Nick Saban, hands down, no questions asked.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, there's a point where, you know, who would you like to work for more?
I feel like Kirby would be fun to work for.
Yeah. And Nick Saban might be behind closed doors, but publicly he's never talked about like, oh yeah, I miss my family, take Friday off. So we're just going to keep going down the list of guys here. So Georgia's losing their top 2 offensive tackles to the NFL draft. And I say top 2, but it's more like 1 and then 2A. And, you know, Amarius Mims is right there at 2B because he played a majority of the Peach Bowl and national championship game and did so at a very high level.
Yeah.
So I think Amarius Mims steps in at one of those tackle spots. And in fall camp, it sounded like a guy named Ernest Green was actually pushing Broderick Jones for that left tackle spot. And then he got injured and wasn't able to continue competing. So it sounds like Georgia's good there. Guard is now I think left guard is now a competition with Xavier Truss. I believe he's announced for the draft.
I haven't trust.
Yeah, Trust. Is he?
I haven't seen anything.
I'm looking it up real quick. Um, yeah, no, I don't see anything. Wow, I'm a
Yeah.
little surprised. Um, so it looks like tackle spots aren't even up for grabs anymore, unless somebody makes a push in fall camp, which is entirely possible.
Yeah.
Um,
No. No.
and as of this recording at 8:39 p.m. on Tuesday evening, Cedric Van Pran Granger looks to be coming back at center, which is huge.
Huge.
Uh, like Georgia had, I know we talked about it on the show. We talked about a lot of line play on this show, but Georgia allowed 9 sacks in 15 games.
That is the least in a 15-game span.
9 sacks in 15 games, and you're losing one of your starting tackles and one of your tackles that was playing a majority of the snaps, but not by much because Amarius Mims was biting at his heels.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, those three-peat talks could be legit.
It's that. So I do want to talk probably next week about like a way too early look at SEC top teams and like who you think could challenge for the SEC championship next year, and like some pros and cons about those teams because
Yeah, we'll figure that out. Yeah. I like that, though. I like it.
there are some teams that I think and this is like if the stars align, can be elite next season.
Yeah.
But it's got to be everything's got to fall into place. No square pegs and circle holes. So Tresman Marshall has entered the transfer portal, which is he was number 15 inside linebacker for Georgia. If you guys are not familiar, he was part of the rotation at inside linebacker, which is, I mean, I think it's a decent sized loss because he played.
Yeah.
I mean, he's part of the two deep rotation,
But
and
I feel like if you're just a casual fan of this team, you have no idea who he is.
right, and
Yeah.
he once in the blowout games, he would come in as like the inside linebacker. It would be him and Ryan Davis, 15-0 on the inside linebackers. But he did extremely well when he was in the game.
Yeah.
Like you never saw a busted play and thought, "Oh, 15, let that go." Like the reason that he wasn't starting wasn't because he wasn't good enough. It's because you have freak athletes like Smile Mondon and Jamon Dumas Johnson. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't that he wasn't good enough. It was that there were other guys that were just as good and knew just as much, but were like a little faster. Is essentially what that was.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep going through here. We all knew Darnell was leaving. We all knew Keeley was leaving, which, to be 100% honest, it's sad that we're losing both of those guys because Keeley, while he had some rough times, has played at an elite level. I don't know. I'd say like 90% of the time. And then Darnell is just, man, if I ever get an opportunity to talk to Darnell Washington, I'm going to ask if he and Brock Bowers are the same species of alien or if they come from like different parts of the galaxy. Because you cannot convince me that they were not either lab created or from another planet.
Yeah.
Robert Beal is going to the draft,
Does
which that's pretty big because either Georgia's going to try and pick up somebody on the outside in the transfer portal, or go with some very young guys, like very young. You're talking sophomores and freshmen. Jalen Walker cross trained at outside linebacker this season. You saw it in the TCU game. He played outside. And then you've also got MJ Sherman, who is leaving, going to Nebraska, of all places.
Yeah. Hey, to each their own, I guess.
Corn money? Is that what that is? No,
Corn.
I don't want to disparage MJ Sherman because he was a guy that I was extremely excited for coming into the last couple of seasons,
Yeah.
but he just had a hard time finding his way in the rotation. And Georgia's got some studs coming in, and put some athletes at inside linebacker outside late in the season to make up for injuries. One
Yeah.
thing that we have not mentioned yet, Nolan Smith, our guy. He's going to the draft. We all expected it.
Yeah, about to say
Man,
that.
I'm still extremely sad that he was not able to play the back half of his last season.
Man. Could you imagine if
If Nolan Smith was in that TCU game, it would have been very much like the end of the Bama game, except in the second quarter, he would have gotten a sack and pointed to his ring finger.
the go to sleep celebration? You
Yeah.
know what's kind of funny? That
What's that?
everyone credits Curry for that. But he did it after Nolan Smith.
Did he?
He did. Nolan Smith was the
Nolan
first
Smith,
one.
trendsetter.
Yeah, he was the first one to do the little nap celebration. Yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Another guy that Georgia's losing to the draft. Not no shock. Jalen Carter.
Yeah, he was the first
I,
one to declare.
yeah, I really don't even know why he had to declare, if I'm being entirely honest. I mean, you're talking about a guy that is projected before the combine or anything as a top 3 or 4 pick. And when he gets to put his full healthy skills on display, it could very much be a Trayvon Walker scenario.
I mean, a lot of people are projecting him to go number one.
I can see it.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of people projecting Anthony Richardson in the first round, and
I don't see that one, but hey,
oh,
I'm not an
I might
expert.
be blind, but I don't see that shit.
Dude, I saw something. It was like being an NFL draft analyst has got to be the best gig because you're just guessing, and if you're
Yeah,
wrong, you're wrong. Like,
so the thing about NFL draft analysts is it's easier than being a weatherman,
yeah,
because in a weatherman there at least has to be science to back up why you're wrong.
yeah,
As a color commentator or play-by-play guy talking sports, you're supposed to be right some of the time.
some of the time,
But
unless you're Gary.
unless you're Gary, then if you get like one name right in a game, you get your contract extended. But draft analyst, there was a guy that projected Emory Jones to go first overall. Like man, if I ever stop doing this show and y'all see my name on ESPN, it's because I boiled a pot of spaghetti and kept throwing shit at the wall till it stuck.
Yeah, like, bro, you can just like Todd McShay. Yeah, this random dude from this random school is going to be a first round pick. Like, and if he's not, be like, oh well, they didn't evaluate him good enough. You can make a great ass excuse on why you were wrong.
Yeah.
Like, God, did I want to be a draft analyst?
Yeah. It's absolutely wild. I don't I don't.
It
It's what it is.
is what it is. It do
Man,
be like
if I in my profession, working in fire protection and life safety, if I was wrong as often as a draft analyst, I would be in prison.
yeah, same.
Fair. Very
People,
fair.
people would be dead all over the place.
Oh, all right. So, do you want to? I know we both wanted to talk about the fun police and the fan base. Oh, you know who we didn't talk about? Blaylock transferring.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about my boy declaring.
Which one's your boy?
Kieris.
You got a lot of them.
Dude,
Kieris did declare.
I was like, you know, Kieris is my boy. Favorite player on the team. I love Kieris.
Yeah, I can't say that I didn't expect it. I thought it was a 50-50.
I mean, he was pretty sure he was out of eligibility, honestly.
No, you're right, because his first season was 2019.
Yeah.
Because in 2019, he had that catch game one against Vanderbilt for the touchdown where the dude broke his arm.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's
Yep.
one of the few things I remember.
I do it. That's my favorite player. I got his jersey and everything. Now I got to get a new one.
So Blaylock, right? We've been big Blaylock fans on the show. We talked about it before the season even started. We were talking about Dominic Blaylock coming back healthy could be a problem, and he was at times. He was at times. So this year, 18 passes, 331 yards, 5 touchdowns. No, 5 touchdowns his freshman year. This season was 15 passes, 227 yards, and 1 touchdown. And it seemed like Dominic Blaylock this season was that guy where if everyone else was covered and Stetson had to start like scrambling or rolling out of the pocket for a guy to get like throw downfield for a first down, it was dumb.
Well, I mean, look at the Notre Dame game, too. I mean, you said it how many times? If it wasn't for him, we would have lost that game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Dominic Blaylock, the 2019 season would have been like 7-5.
Yeah.
Without Dominic Blaylock and Lawrence Cager, who Lawrence Cager is going to the second round of the playoffs with the Giants.
Dude, I forgot about Lawrence Cager.
Yeah, Lawrence Cager and Dominic Blaylock. If those two were not catching passes in 2019, that's a 7-5 team.
Oh, we were screwed.
Yeah, 7-5 team. So I know no one that listens to our show are going to be those people that hate on Dominic Blaylock for leaving. But if you know someone that is one of those people, tell them to shut the fuck up.
You know what?
He gave everything to this program, including 2 ACLs.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's where I wanted to go with this. Because there's a lot of people on Twitter who claim that if a player is transferring, they can't be a damn good dog. Like, if there's one player that you give that damn good dog title to for transfer, like that's a transfer, is Blaylock. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of players that have entered the transfer portal this season.
Yeah.
Like Tresman Marshall. He played his ass off whenever he got the opportunity for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I want him to go succeed.
Yeah. But I'm talking about the damn good dog title.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you give that shit to Blaylock. And if you're one of those fans that are like, you better not be calling a transfer a damn good dog, blah blah blah, shut the fuck up.
Absolutely. Like I said, Dominic Blaylock literally gave his heart and soul to this team, up to and including 2 ACLs. He tore his hamstring when he was trying to come, or not tore, but sprained his hamstring severely last season trying to come back.
Yeah, like, dude gave everything for this team. So, yeah, I'm going to give him the damn good dog time.
And, like, you can go back and watch games from that 2019 season. Tell me where you think Georgia ends up at the end of 2019 without Dominic Blaylock.
Yeah.
And if it's not 7-5, 8-4, you're full of shit.
We're not going to a Florida bowl game and not in a good one.
Yeah, it's like the fucking Tax Slayer Gator Bowl or something without Dominic Blaylock as a true freshman on that 2019 team. So if you're one of those people that's like, oh, you can't call him a damn good dog or you can't support him wherever he goes, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Like I don't have time for you. And if you're one of those people and you listen to this podcast, stop listening.
Fuck you.
Because, yeah, like, and that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit later. Like, man, stop. We don't need fun police in the fan base. Ours or the University of Georgia's.
Yeah, like when? Tell me the last time as a Georgia fan it's been this fun. You can't.
I'm gonna say never. I'm gonna say never.
07 was maybe like the closest, but
Yeah, they didn't even make the SEC championship in 07.
yeah, but they should have made it to the Natty and won. But we won't get into that.
Well, yeah.
You know what? I'm about to do something off air, but
Yeah, no, that's something I do want to talk about is the fun police and the fan base. And I'm gonna start this off by and this is actually something from September of this past year.
oh,
And I'm gonna call this person out. 100%.
Ooh.
Elle Duncan from the Paul Feinbaum show. Elle Duncan said that she doesn't know if Georgia can make the SEC championship with Stetson Bennett.
Weird.
And don't get me wrong, she's publicly eaten crow over the last season, but either she was trying her hardest to go viral with a hot take, which she did, or
I think that's what everyone tries to do now.
Or she's a typical ESPN employee and doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Bingo.
I don't like stupid people, right? I don't.
Stupid does.
I don't like stupid people.
Yeah.
And I mean, talking about stupid people, we've had people in the comments, Georgia fans in the comments on our Instagram talking about like there was one guy specifically. So for those of you that may not know, we made a McConkey on his donkey t-shirt. It's for sale in the shop. We'll go all over all that in a minute.
That's like
There's
my
a guy
favorite.
that's like, that's the worst radio call I've ever heard in my life. I don't know why you guys like it. Scott Howard is trash. And it's like, what? Like, show me your badge because we don't have fun police here. Because it's fun. And if you're one of those people that doesn't like fun calls, stop listening to the Keely Ringo pick six. Because Georgia's going to conquer the Tide. That's a fun call, right? Like, if you're one of those people that doesn't like fun calls, and I like never listen to a Spanish broadcast of a soccer game because those are the best.
Even though you don't know what the fuck they're saying.
No. Never listen to another radio broadcast. Never watch the 2021 national championship again. Like, if you're going to voluntarily be miserable because you want to hold yourself and other people to a higher standard, just quit, man.
Don't listen to Pat McAfee.
Right. Like that when Pat McAfee before the Tennessee game did that, who's that coming down the track? I better not ever hear you listening to that. If you think McConkey on his donkey is the worst radio call of all time, get the fuck out of here.
The best part about that is I commented back, I replied, and I was like, well, that's where you're wrong. I was like, this is probably one of the greatest Scott Howard calls. And he was like, that's because you're trying to sell a shirt with that on it. And I'm like, we didn't think it was good. Why would we put it on a shirt? Right. We decided to make a shirt because we loved the call. That's going to go down in this season's history as iconic. It should. And then the other comment, you ready? Nothing stupider. And I was like, well, stupider is not a word, so. Right. Yeah. No. But dude, that is I said that last episode. That is now my favorite Scott Howard call. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Man, and like if you're gonna say, and this is something that I've actually seen, if you're gonna say that you're not a real Georgia fan, if you like the fun stuff, and if you don't hate Stetson Bennett for being an asshole to the media in his speech, like why are you trying to gatekeep being a real Georgia fan?
Yeah, I don't get.
Because chances are those are the same people that haven't been to a game, only watch the SEC games. Like they don't sit there and go through, like they don't watch UAB.
They weren't with us during the Tennessee Hail Mary. They weren't with us during that loss to Vanderbilt.
No, no.
Like they weren't with us through the fucking prayer of Jordan Hare. Like no,
And I'll be honest, if you want to jump on the Georgia bandwagon, we're taking a select few. We are. But like why are you gonna hate on other people for trying to have fun?
yeah, I don't get it, man. I've never had this much fun as a Georgia fan in my life.
No, no. Man, so y'all, if you know me, you know I'm petty. If I had one eye, you could call me Petty Wop. The Before Georgia won that national championship last January, every time, every single time, I would see a Florida fan post a comment on social media on a Georgia post that said 1980. I took a screenshot with the intention of making a post and tagging all of those people after Georgia won the national championship. And then once they won, I was like, you know what? I don't fucking care about you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I still have hundreds of screenshots on my phone, and it's like, why would I care that much?
Yeah. Wait.
Like, oh, the last good quarterback your team had just got inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame because it's been so long.
Ooh, I'm glad you brought that up. Um, for two reasons actually. Did you know Justin Fields almost went to Florida?
I do slightly remember there was a
Yeah.
conversation,
Yeah, Justin
and I
Fields.
also have heard from some fairly reliable people that that Justin Fields had some money delivered to him before he committed to Georgia.
I mean, everybody does. But yeah, no. There was an interview they had with him like after practice or Elite 11, something like that. He's like, yeah, he's like, the Florida coaching staff, they said they haven't had a good quarterback since Tebow, and I can go in there
Facts.
and he's like, I can turn that program around, this and that. And he's like, that's why I'm going to Gainesville next weekend. Yeah, he was apparently almost a Gator.
So
And
is Jacob Eason.
so it's Jake Fromm was
So
almost,
is Carson Beck.
yeah, crazy.
Carson Beck's troll of Florida is one of my favorite things.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, he committed to Florida. Just so Carson Beck committed to Florida because he wanted to go to Georgia, and they had only talked about offering him and hadn't done it yet. And he thought, if I commit to Florida, they'll finally give me the offer to try and pull a quarterback from Florida. So he committed to Florida. Georgia offered him, and he decommitted and committed to Georgia.
Really? Well, he's from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit. I didn't know that.
Carson Beck's troll of Florida makes him a damn good dog if he never plays another snap in red and black.
Damn, that's crazy. And then my second point to the Hall of Fame, I don't know if we talked about this last episode or not, about how Stetson can't be eligible or Mike Leach can't be eligible for the Hall of Fame. Stetson can't be eligible because he was never an All-American. And Mike Leach can't be eligible because his winning percentage is like 0.5 off of what it needs to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
0.05.
0.05, yeah, like of what it needs to be. I can't remember what it is. Was it 60%?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Yeah, it's 0.05 off. Stetson was never an All American, so he can't be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Like
You want to know another player that is not eligible for the Hall of Fame? That's going to shock you. Nick Chubb.
Was he never an All-American?
Nope. Nick Chubb and Sony Michel have the record for the University of Georgia for all-time rushing tandem.
Yeah.
And I want to say they have the SEC record for all-time rushing tandem.
I'm pretty sure Chubb broke Herschel's record at Georgia.
He did.
Yeah. Like,
not eligible for the Hall of Fame.
They need to fix the eligibility, man.
I agree.
Like, that's ridiculous.
I agree 100%. But go ahead.
I was going to go back into the fun suckers.
No, I mean, that's where I was headed too. No, at the risk of beating a dead horse, like, why try to ruin other people's fun? Like, if you don't like Scott Howard's call, then don't talk about it.
Then don't listen to Scott Howard radio. Like, don't listen to the radio call.
Yeah. And, oh, man, I had some high-proof whiskey go down the wrong pipe. That's,
see that. You okay?
Oh, hold on. I got a cough. But the people that are complaining about Stetson Bennett during the parade, during the ceremony, I don't get it. So the biggest reason that I've heard people are complaining is he was on his phone while riding in the car, right?
I got this.
Well, let me do my little bit first. So Stetson Bennett riding in the car was apparently on his phone. What, is he just supposed to sit there and wave? Like, is that it? And there's people saying that he ignored the WSB TV reporter. You know what he didn't do? When he did his press conference interview at Raising Cane's, he talked to the WSB TV reporter for a few minutes, right? And that was after most of the media was critical of him for his entire Georgia career. And from my vantage point, I saw the entire dog wall. Like, I was on the second floor of the Tate Student Center, posted up in a window. I could see the players from when they got out of the car to the point of where they turned by the bookstore. And Stetson Bennett took dozens of pictures, shaked dozens of hands. He stopped and played drums with the band for a minute. He signed some autographs. And then when he got into the stadium for the ceremony itself, he wasn't on his phone. Like, he was. And the people that are mad about what he said.
Dude, I love
it. Imagine if you go to work every day and over the PA speaker for the entire company office, they said, John Doe is awful. He's terrible at his job. I don't know why he still has this job. He shows up for work every day, and I'm not sure why. Like, what is he doing? Oh, he got nominated for Employee of the Year. He doesn't deserve that. Here's a list of other peoples that deserve Employee of the Year more than this guy, this and that. And then you prove everybody wrong for 2 years straight. Every single person is proven wrong for 2 years straight. You're the MVP of 4 playoff games. You win back-to-back national titles for the first time in college football playoff history. And then you break the Georgia single-season passing record as a 0-star recruit that was a walk-on when you started your career. We're told for 2 years how terrible you were.
By the coaching staff.
Even the coaching staff. And then you get on stage and you get handed a mic for your last time as a public speaking appearance for the University of Georgia. I would have called people out by name. I would have been like, hey, L. Duncan, sucks to suck. That would have been my entire speech. Or like calling out all of the fucking Barstool guys that sat there. And there was one of their podcasts, I don't follow them that closely, one of the Barstool podcasts where they sit around and act like they know what they're talking about. Went through a list of guys that deserve to be a Heisman candidate more than Stetson Bennett. Shocker, none of those guys beat multiple Heisman candidates in their final season to win a national championship.
Out of the top 5, the only one Stetson didn't beat was Caleb Williams. That's because he didn't get a chance to play him.
Dang it. This Georgia offense against that USC defense would have ended up very much like TCU.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, there's no chance to prove me wrong because they'll never play a game, but it would have been ugly.
Yeah.
It would have been very ugly. No, man, if you're mad at Stetson Bennett for giving one last bird to the people that told him for his entire career from the time he was in high school until literally the day that he won the national championship MVP with 6 total touchdowns that he was not good enough, shut up. It's just what it is. Shut up.
Yeah.
All right, Wes, your turn.
Yes. Dude, I just need like a segment. I'm gonna start off with this. I need a segment where like it has a song and everything. It's called Wes's like Rant of the Week or something like that.
We'll just clip the Family Guy. You know what really grinds my gears?
Dude, so yeah. If you're hating on Stetson, I'm just gonna piggyback on what you said. If you're hating on Stetson, like shut the fuck up. All right. People were upset that he was on his phone. Okay, cool. I have the reasons right here why he was on his phone. And if you don't know this, he's been off social media for the past week. This is his first day back on, and this is his first post. So I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's pretty long, but he's pretty much calling out people that were calling him out for being on his phone. Pretty much he says, "Are you ready?" So he's like, he even cusses. It's great. He was fucking pissed. But no, he was talking about the fans celebrate as a group, right? Yeah, it is. Sorry. But no, so pretty much, he wants to fill in some holes that people are leaving out. He's like, last year's parade was a celebration of that championship. This year's parade was a celebration of a special period of time for me, is what he said. Of course, there is a possibility that I am wrong. And while we as a team very much so appreciate the fans, we also individuals appreciate our teammates. He's like, the ones we've broken bones, torn ligaments, bled for and cried, changed, grown man, laughed for years now. So W fill in these damned holes. Team, group, celebrate with fans, group, in a big parade. Teammates, individuals, celebrate with teammates, individuals, in a small personal car. Like I said, for those of y'all that don't know, like there was like 3 in the car. It was him, Chris Smith, and he said. I don't know who said is.
Cedric Van Pran.
Okay, that's what I figured. Teammates, individuals, celebrate with teammates, blah blah blah. Guess which one I am? He's like, I'm a teammate. So to finish it off nice and neat, I was controlling the aux and playing bangers. So said Chris and I could have a blast on our last ride into Sanford. That's pretty much the gist of it. So he had 2 phones. One was controlling the music, so him and his fucking teammates could celebrate.
And he was playing some really good music.
Was he?
Yeah. Oh, it was all like Notorious B.I.G. and like old school rap.
But he laid it out right there. He was celebrating with his fucking teammates during a celebration. When he got out of the car, when he was part of the group, he was a part of the group.
And I have pictures to prove it. I have hundreds of pictures of the dog wall.
Yeah, so I think people are hating on Stetson now because it's the quote unquote cool thing to do.
If you can't hate on someone's play, you hate on their character.
And dude, I wore that sweater shirt he was wearing so bad. But no, and then going to the stage, man, like I'm not mad about it. He's like, because DJ Shockley asked him, what's your most memorable moment or something like that, something along those lines. And he straight up just like shocked. He's like, man, y'all doubted us. He's like, y'all said we weren't good enough.
And y'all was to the media, not the broadcast team of the radio station.
Yeah. But he was like, y'all doubted us. Y'all said we weren't good. It was 49-3. Y'all said we weren't good. 65-7. Y'all said, how is this even possible? He's like, we kept winning and kept beating teams. He's like, screw it. He's like, I don't know what else to say. Screw it. We got 2 rings. Like, this kid, he is a college kid just like anybody else. Right? Yeah, he's 25 years old. But guess what? So is Hendon fucking Hooker. He is a college kid who's been doubted his whole fucking career. And like you said, your last chance to say fuck you to the media, he took it and ran with it. And I am here for
Absolutely.
it. I am fucking here for it.
No, I mean, look, once again, if you're here to hate on the team or other people in the fan base for having fun, don't be part of our fan base, and definitely don't be part of the Georgia fan base, because like it or not, the fan base is adapting to beating the fuck out of everybody and enjoying it.
Oh, so I saw something. I'm glad you brought that up. This might have something to do with it, might not. So Aaron Murray, he was on his TikTok earlier, and he was talking about Georgia. The players were talking about how the media thought they were going to go 5-6, 6-7, blah blah blah, stuff like that. He's like, but the media knew Georgia was going to be one of the best teams this year. He's like, is Georgia trying to find ways to get angry at games because like they're just beating the fuck? He's like, and he said it reminded him of The Last Dance, how Jordan had to find different ways, different motivations to get pissed off. He's like, has Georgia gotten to that level to where they need to find ways to piss themselves off to go out and just dominate?
Yeah,
like, are we
no, and
that
that's actually the exact, like, I hadn't heard that from Aaron Murray, but like that was the comparison that I made in my mind when I heard people complaining about Stetson Bennett the other day and what he said. And it's like, Georgia is to the level where there are maybe 2 or 3 teams in college football that can compete with them.
Yeah, and we saw one of them last year.
So yes, they have to get pissed off at their opponents, at somebody. Like, you have to prove somebody wrong, because as soon as that chip falls off your shoulder, so does the championship.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has – somebody said something – I can't remember who it was. It wasn't media. It was just a casual fan or whatever. They were like, Kirby has created a cult within Georgia football that he makes his own media, makes a fake video and shows it to the players, talking about Georgia's going to lose every game. Georgia's going to be pissed off, blah, blah, blah. They suck. He's like, I was like, yeah, that could be true. Kirby could be making his own fake media just to piss people off.
You see it. Georgia players don't really post on social media very much during the season.
They don't.
Like, they almost go into a blackout.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're professional about it. Like, this is time to work. We have 6-7 months a year that we can do whatever we want to. But when it's time to work, it's time to work.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's been a complete culture change and shop. I wouldn't even say even the fans. Like, the culture of the fans have changed, and like you said, people aren't liking it because we're used to being that team that just, okay, we'll go 8-4 and be okay with that. Like, no, like, it's fucking championship or bust now. Like,
and the Tea and Crumpets fan base in Georgia, like the old school, like 80s and 90s fans that are now older, like the people that don't want you to be loud at games, don't want you to have fun, don't want you to stand up and scream and clap. Here's the deal with those fans. If you don't want people standing up and screaming, buy your seats in the very front row of whatever section you're in and bring earplugs.
Yeah.
Because as it was talked about time and time again during the celebration, Georgia has one of the best home field advantages in college football now.
Yeah, look at the Tennessee game.
Broke the record for loudest college football stadium that's ever been recorded.
Have you heard people are saying that it was piped in?
Man, I don't hear it. If you weren't there, shut up. I was there and I almost wish I had earplugs in. It was so loud.
That's fantastic.
It was ridiculous. No, we're just going to say it again. If you're one of those people that wants to hate on other people having fun or how they have fun or what they like, go somewhere else.
I don't want you.
We don't want you for the show. We definitely don't want you in the Georgia fan base because, like we talked about last week, this is a new era. And if you're not willing to accept that and adapt with it, go somewhere else.
Yeah. We are living through the Georgia villain arc, and I'm all fucking for it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't want to become a hero again.
I want to say a fucking villain.
I don't want an arc. I want a downward slant into permanent villain.
Dude, I think there's a good shot of that happening next year. Hell, I think for the villain arc, like we just keep going on and going on. But I think if we make it, like not even win it next year, if we make it to 3 in a row, like 3 natties in a row, like dude, I think college football is going to explode.
Well, that's going to be every team that wasn't for an expanded playoff is suddenly a huge playoff expansion supporter.
Because the expansion,
we've already seen Saban flip that coin.
the expansion is next year, isn't it? It's not like
I believe so.
24, not 23, right?
24.
So there's one more year of the 14.
There's one more year of the 4 teams, and then it's expansion, and then it's Texas and Oklahoma, unless that comes earlier.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. People get mad that the SEC keeps winning. They're going to get even more mad when the SEC has 6 teams in a 12-team playoff.
And the Final Four.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
But all right, guys, I think that's going to do it for us today on the Nothing Finer podcast. As always, Instagram is nothing.finer.pod. Twitter is @finerpod. Facebook group, just search us up. We're always posting stuff in there. We got a good community going on. The YouTube, once again, just search us, make sure it's got our logo, and nothingfinerpod.com. The promo code is up for champs and 15% off, but we still have a lot of merch. And I'm actually, when I get off of here, working on an embroidered hat and potentially one of those golf dry fit polos. So we're working on some stuff, but just stick it out with us because we're doing this. And we're gonna have some fun guests coming up here soon. We're talking to some people working on some stuff. Gonna have some bracket challenge stuff as far as like March Madness. Obviously, we'll do that, but we're gonna do like favorite moment in Georgia history. What's your favorite game to go back and watch? Probably gonna do some potential like uniform combo brackets on our social medias. I know we already did that. No, but see, this time we could do like different jersey, helmet, pant combos, and not just stuff that's been done before.
Okay. Yeah, I'll figure something out.
We're trying to work on some stuff, but if you go to the shop, that's not like to explain this because I've heard some people be like, "Oh, well, you just want to make money on the podcast." And that's not it. If we never make a dime on this show, I enjoy doing it. The reason we did the shop is because I spend a good bit of money every month to keep this thing going. And if I can break even by a couple people buying t-shirts and stop losing money, that's kind of the goal. Like I don't expect to blow up. I don't expect for Barstool or ESPN or Saturday Down South to pick up the show and us get a bunch of sponsors.
I do.
I just want to get to a point of where I'm not losing money. Like that's kind of the goal here. So If you want to support us, once again, it's nothingfinderpod.com. We got everything from stickers to hats, coffee cups, t-shirts. And we're working on some stuff when I get some time. But you got anything else?
No, I think I went on my rant. I think we're good. Oh, actually, yeah. Georgia basketball is beating Kentucky right now, 7-11 in the first half.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, no shit. And rank Georgia basketball, you fucking cowards. Okay, we're good now.
All right, guys. Always remember, there is nothing finer in the land
than a drunk, obnoxious back-to-back champ.
3rd and a mile. Duggan from the 2 will throw it all the way across the field. It's picked up by Bullardy. Bullard got it again. And Bennett to throw, lobs it to the right corner. There's McConkey. He got on his donkey and made a sliding catch in the right corner. Touchdown.